Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to Share the Love Sundays. We're very excited today because we're sitting down with Ash from Ash on Film. Hello.
Hi, Ash.
Hi.
Welcome. Can you please just tell us who you are? What's your channel about?
So my name's Ash and my channel's called Ash on Film, and it's mostly about how to live a simpler life. And I also do a little bit of travel and exploring and just generally putting out some positive things to sort of help people live their life simply and enjoyably.
Oh, well, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and that's very valuable, that type of content as well. You know, that kind of live your life well type of thing. I think we all need that sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I think I could live mine a bit better than I do. So when did you start it, Ash? How long have you been doing YouTube?
So I posted my first video for Ash on Film back in September last year. So it must be about maybe 9 months, 8 or 9 months now that the channel's been running. I had dabbled in doing YouTube videos before, but I'd never committed to a subject and made a plan, you know, to put something out frequently. And I really wanted to do it last summer. I had the idea in my mind for a while, and I thought, okay, I just have to start. So I got some videos out there, gauged how well they were received, and then built from there.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's a really good way of doing it, actually. If you're not quite sure what type of content, just put something out and see what people think, see what feedback you get. I love that.
Yeah, I love all your travels around Scotland, and I absolutely adore all the folklore, folk tale stories and the legends. Do you actually pick the destination first, or do you research legends and folklore and then go to the venue?
It's a bit of a mix. So sometimes I'll know that I'm going somewhere, and so I'll look up what's happening around there, or what interesting things there are to go and do. Or sometimes it's that I know of a legend or some folklore, and then I go to the location to explore it. So when I was a few months ago, when we were in like the deepest of lockdowns, it was about what was in my local area. And that really was just having a think about, well, what stories do people tell? Have people told me when I was growing up, or like what kind of local legends are there, or just interesting things? And that kind of led to me exploring the local area a lot more. But then some of them, so when I went to Arran recently, it was that I knew of that story for a really long time, and I'd always wanted to go and see the caves. So I thought, right, now's the time. And it was, I think, the first day that you could travel a little bit further than where you live. And I was like, I'm going.
You were out there.
I was very eager to go. So yeah, I was like on the first boat across to the island because I was like so excited to do it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Was that the story where you got no sleep, but you still decided you were going no matter what?
And it was so tempting because the ticket was valid for a whole month. It was really
so you could have put it off.
There was, well, yeah, that's it. And I did wake up, well, you know, I hadn't slept for very long. I don't even know if I was in a deep sleep, but when the alarm went off, I lay there and thought I could just stay in bed. No, do it, because you'll feel really good about doing it. And I think that's something as well that like doing the channel has kind of become a little bit inbuilt, is that it does feel really, really good to create something. And
gosh, yes.
Yeah, and look back on it. So going through with it just makes me feel really good.
Yeah, there's a huge sense of achievement, and you know, and being creative is what really, really inspires us, doesn't it?
Yeah,
we get so much out of that part of it.
And it's so relatable. Like some days you don't feel like doing it beforehand, but when you get going with it and it all starts to just kind of flow, it just feels so good to just
definitely there's
done.
Yeah, I think I'm very like, that motivates me to go out and find something to film, or to sit down and think about a subject and sort of plan the video. But when recording it, I don't know if you guys get this, but some days I just can't get the words out. I trip
all
up
the time.
And I really admire you guys keep your bloopers in sometimes because they're really, really fun. And I always cut them out because I react so badly. I'm always oh no, and like really
you
sort
have
of
to have the old bleep machine on.
So some days when I sit down to film, like, you know, just talking to the camera can be real. I don't know why. Some days are great and you fly through it. Some days are so hard.
Oh, that is so true, isn't it?
That is so true. Some days we're just on it and we've done it in like 10 minutes. And other days, oh my God, there's like 5 minutes of good footage and an hour's worth of filming.
I think because you get more stressed about it, you just can't say the words. They just go on. You can't remember what you're supposed to be saying, even though you've just said it. And then
absolutely. You get so far and you just say one thing wrong and you're like, no,
it's a really long sentence, and then that last word, it just escapes you, or you say something stupid. It's me that
and sometimes like sometimes I think that's our best material when we're just laughing and we're just like having fun. And I don't know, we kind of like showing people like how we are when we're less polished as well. So
I do sometimes say to her, for goodness sake, edit that bit out. And that's just the time when she won't edit that bit out. So I shouldn't really say anything.
I think that's good though. See, that's where, because I work on my own, I'm always just kind of like, well, I'll take that out and I'll take that out because you know, but then if somebody else was there to say, no, that's actually really funny, you should keep it in, then maybe it would give a bit of an extra edge to it. I don't know. I should maybe give it a try.
See how it goes.
Next blooper, I'll try.
You're always so polished though. Like I like that about your channel too. Everything looks so nice and you're such a good storyteller. You've got such a good voice for it. It's so easy to listen to. It's just I like that about your channel too. Like it's just easy to
I agree,
absorb the information. And
thanks. I really like storytelling. I think that was one of the things that when I started the channel I really wanted to focus on, but it was, I mean, if you look back over the last, 8-9 months, there's quite a lot of variety in there, and it was kind of about finding like what works and how to tell a story and keep people watching right along to the end as well. Keep it interesting and not give too much away up front. So it's definitely
I like the way
a lot
you
of practice.
do that. You give a little sort of taster, a little hint of what's to come, and then we
follow the journey.
Which is great. Who have we got in the chat, Lucy?
Let's say hi to everybody. Thank you for coming, everybody. Dad's here, John Atkins. Hi, John / Dad. Flower, eggs and yeast. Say hi, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Oh, hi. Oh, glad they made it.
Thank you for coming, Flower, eggs and yeast. Roger says hello.
Hi, Rog.
And Flower, eggs and yeast say, I find Ash's content so inspiring.
Thank you.
Indeed.
That means so much.
Yeah, totally agree. Amsab Kitchener here.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Hi, Amy. And Flower, eggs and yeast say, I love bloopers.
Oh, Flower, eggs and yeast are so good at bloopers as well.
Yes.
They have got great comedic timing.
Yes,
absolutely.
I might have stolen some ideas from Flower, eggs and yeast when they do the little I don't know what you call it, like where it looks like you're looking through a recording.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what to call, you'll know what I mean, like how they do their bloopers. I might have stolen that in one of our videos. It was such a good idea. And Dad says bloopers and the reaction can be great. Oh, thanks, Dad. Well, I'm supposed you mean that generally, not just about us, but thanks anyway. John and Cara, retired travelers, welcome.
Welcome. Thanks for coming along.
So we're a bit late. Thank you for introducing Ash to us. Looking forward to watching her videos.
Oh, right.
Well, everyone, if you want to check out Ash, which you all should, there's a link in our description, so you can go straight there. We can't recommend her highly enough. She's fantastic. And Eleanor from Eleanor Elaborate says hello.
Hi, Eleanor. Thanks for joining us.
I'm just going to go through you all because we appreciate you so much. Lula S.
Hi, Lula.
Hi, Lula. Lula was our wonderful guest 2 weeks ago.
I watched that one.
Oh, wasn't it
circle?
Yeah. No pressure, Ash, but he was very good.
He was amazing.
Oh, and Eleanor says your newest college graduate is here. Congratulations, Eleanor, who's just graduated from college.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, fantastic.
Congratulations. Oh, and Flowerix, and you saved me. They say, lol, it's called the recording overlay. Thank you.
Oh, right. Do a bit more of that, Lucy.
Yeah, do some of that.
Yeah, so you call yourself Ash on film.
Mm-hmm.
Did you study to be a filmmaker? Did you do anything like that in college?
I did.
So I thought you did.
Yeah, I'll dive into it. When I was younger, I loved making films. I had a video camera when I was it was black and white, and it plugged into a VCR. And it was like you had this big long cable that you had to like keep it all connected in order to record. And I just loved making things. And then, you know, as I grew up and technology got a bit more sophisticated, I started doing little digital films and things like that. I, after school, went to college and studied media. And then after college, I went to university and studied filmmaking. But I really loved creating, and I really loved sort of the entire process of it. And I wasn't too sure where I wanted to go with filmmaking as a career. So I have done quite a lot of different things. Again, much like the YouTube channel, it was sort of sample everything and see what works. And now I've got to a place where I edit videos. So that's my main full-time job. I love the editing process. I don't know about you, Lucy, but there's just something so rewarding about seeing everybody's hard work just come together in the final edit. So that's always been like my favorite part of it. So I do that. And then obviously in the last year or so, I decided to get a little bit more into content creation, because that's just where there's just so much happening there right now. There's some really great stuff coming out, and I kind of thought, yeah, why not give this a try? And yeah, you know, decided to step in front of the camera, share stories, travel, and talk about things that are important to me. And that's where it led me to now. But it's been good because I felt like going into YouTube, I had the tools I needed to make videos. Whereas, and it was more about learning like how to make a good video content wise, like what do you put in that? What's the right recipe for things that people care about, that you're also passionate about, that you're the right person to talk about that subject. Because I think some people are like there with the idea, but maybe need to learn how to film something, how to edit and things like that as well. So it's almost the kind of inverse of like how a lot of people
you the opposite. Because most people I guess do it from the other way around, like we did, and we had to learn all the things you were just describing, you know, the camera work, the editing, and so forth. So it's interesting you came from it at the opposite angle.
Definitely.
A lot of people.
But I really like it because although I love the work that I do, I get to be like, I get to make whatever I want. So
that's so important, isn't it? To have ownership and to choose and to create yourself rather than just, you know, do something with somebody else's work. Be directed by others. It's so satisfying. Well, we've got lots of people in the. Sorry, Lucy.
That's okay.
Lots of people in the chat. But it's been going mad.
Lula says you guys are amazing hosts.
Oh, thank you.
And Ash's channel is awesome too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lula. That means a lot. Eleanor says, yes, I graduate on Friday. Yay! So I'll have more content about my last week soon. But we'll definitely look out for that, Eleanor. That's really exciting. And I think that might be. Oh, Flowerix, and you say I'm actually taking my first film class this summer.
Oh, wow!
I'm nervous.
Excellent.
It'll just be more about history and not really the how. Well, I mean, that's really exciting. I would love to be able to do something like that.
Definitely. What do you recommend that we do to improve our filming techniques or our knowledge? And what would you recommend us YouTubers do to actually, you know, get a little bit more professional about it?
Well, interestingly, on that comment, the history of film will give you some pointers at how to sort of be thrifty almost and just problem solve, because that's, for me, that's a lot of what filmmaking is problem solving. And I think like the best thing you can do is probably watch other people and learn from it. So where you know, you liked the style of the record cam and you thought, oh, I'll introduce that to my own videos, like just doing little things like that, like maybe go, oh, I really liked how that person did something, how would I do it my way, is something that just really builds up not only your personal style, but just also like the skills along the way in order to do that. And you might discover something else from trying to do that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, one of the best things you can do is just like give it a go and learn from other people who you think are doing it well, and try to like bring your own spin to that.
I love that. And that's something I think that we've kind of started to do in this community of YouTubers, is we all kind of learn from each other, we all give advice, because we all have different areas of kind of expertise, I guess, and you know, the angle we're looking at it from. And just sharing that knowledge has been so valuable. We've learned so much just from this community. So
yeah, that's for sure. Yes.
I actually changed my intro recently. So I had cut, it was only about 10 seconds or 15 seconds. And it was just kind of like, you know, the clapperboard and the microphone and all these things. And then I saw a post that people asked, somebody had asked, is an intro like that important? Or is it more just something that the filmmaker likes? And more people had said that they skip the intro. So I was kind of like, well, that's a clear sign. So I changed it around, and now I sort of introduce the video, like what I'm going to talk about. And then I just do a really quick, like it's about 2 or 3 seconds of like a little bit of a song and just the clapperboard, and it's like, right, let's begin. And it just, I like it because it just gives me a sort of beat at the start of the video to sort of set up what it is going to be, but then it doesn't take a lot of time. And what I did was I moved the intro that I cut to the end, and that's now what you watch when all the cards come up and it says like, oh, what do you want to watch next instead. So it was still used, but yeah, it was really insightful to learn something like that from people. Because I had just kind of done my own thing and assumed that that was okay. So yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice.
Yeah, I saw that post too, and that got us thinking. We actually like snazzied up our intro.
Yeah, we shortened it and snazzied it because we were kind of, you know, thinking, oh, we haven't got any fun graphics or anything. It's just so verbal and not very, you know, punchy. So yeah, that inspired us to change ours too.
Yeah, ours is still maybe a little bit longer, but like you say, it does give that kind of, I don't know, it kind of launches the video. It gives it some energy, I think, to have something. That's just my opinion, and I don't suppose every channel needs it, but I think our channel needs that kind of
needs every bit of oomph.
I really like it, and when I'm watching YouTube videos, if it jumped into the action straight away, I think there's a moment where you have to settle. I think there's a moment where you turn on the video and you've got to be like, right, now I'm watching this. And if you jump in too fast, I feel like you can lose people. Or you lose me. I need time. So I just like having that little bit. Yeah,
just say, right, this is it, we're now starting. Sometimes we put a little teaser in, don't we?
Before the intro, because
we also read that was a good idea. So we do that sometimes. We're really sure, and then there's the intro.
Yeah. Tony, you made it.
Oh, hi, Tony. Hope the wedding was good.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, Tony.
Yeah, thank you.
Eleanor says, recently I had a larger YouTube give me some tips. I am working on searchable content and thumbnails. Oh, interesting. Do you have any thoughts about what makes a good thumbnail, Ash?
Well, there's a lot of opinions out there, and I've tried to read them all because it's so important. Like they say that it's all about like winning the click. So when your video is in a sea of other videos, like what's going to make somebody go for yours? And the thumbnail really does stand out to people. And there's so many theories about what colors you should use, what kind of face you should pull. Now, I know that there's people who will stand by doing like a silly face, you know, like a real extreme emotion, like shocked or like sad. And I just, I think I tried it. I did a video about searching for the Loch Ness Monster, and I took
just seen
loads
that
of
one,
pictures
actually.
of myself with binoculars, and I was like, and I just felt so silly in all of them. And now I take those pictures. I take pictures of me looking nice, And I always come to picking which one is going to be. And I'm like, I can't put that up. It looks ridiculous. I'm just going to go with the nice one. So maybe again, I hold myself back a little bit. But I think that as long as you've got something that gives the feeling of the video, like, is it going to, like, for me, obviously my channel is about simple living and it's a very like calm place. Like even when I do go traveling or when I explore a story, it's always from a very sort of like, sort of like calm settings. So I always try to like go with thumbnails that are gonna like set the mood, as well as tell you what you're gonna see, kind of thing. But it's hard making thumbnails.
Yes, that's such a good point though, because if people like the mood of the thumbnail, they're probably going to like the mood of your video if you can make them match. That's a really good point, to try and, you know, capture the right people, not necessarily the most people, but the people who are going to enjoy the video, because they're the ones who are going to stick with it for longest. That's a really good point.
That is a very good point.
And John and Cara have a question, and they say, Ash, what equipment do you use and what editing software? Brit Girls, please answer as well. Thank you.
Okay, well, let Ash answer first.
Cool. So I have a DSLR camera, which I've had for a few years now, and it's very like I take it everywhere. It's been through thick and thin. I'm constantly brushing sand out of the lens. It's been through a lot, and it's very reliable. I do sometimes use a drone. But so I got one a few years ago, and it was really one of those things that is like, this is a really cool toy. And then as I've sort of like gotten a little bit better, I've kind of tried to incorporate that a little bit more. It's very good for sort of landscapes and things, but it's very windy in Scotland. And I've had a few mishaps.
Oh yes, I'm sure.
Yeah. I accidentally crashed it into a waterfall recently, and my brother had to go and fish it out for me. He was a lot braver than me and could sort of scale like the stones at the side of the waterfall, and it was okay. I had to replace a propeller on it, but other than that, it's been fine.
That was fortunate.
It's really lucky, because if it had landed in the water, I think it would have been completely gone. So I was really lucky that it landed in some rocks. But it's made me be very cautious. But so that's kind of the main equipment. And then I edit on Premiere Pro, which I know isn't accessible to everybody, but I would always say, like, your editing software, no matter what it is that you use, it will always look really similar. And all you need is to be able to cut at the right moment and be really clever with it, and you can make something amazing. So, because I think a lot of people are always kind of like, do I need to have like really expensive equipment? And it's like, no, you just need to be really good with your idea and be able to work with what you've got, and it will come across just as well as something that's been made with like, something really fancy.
Totally agree. That's right. I mean, like, I love editing. I'm like you, but I do try and like make sure that we're never like style over substance. I think the idea always has to be the most important thing, and then the editing supports the idea, rather than just putting in flashy stuff just because you think it's going to make people stay longer.
Definitely.
Do you want to talk about our camera, because you know more about it than I do?
So the camera, we've got a mirrorless Panasonic Lumix camera, and I did loads of research beforehand because we'd never used anything like that. We were just using our phone and iPad originally, and we love it. It's quite light, so it's very portable, and the quality we feel is really good. We've got a little plug-in rodeo mic that we plug into
road mic.
Oh, rodeo.
Sorry.
So it is the Arizona thing. Somebody mentioned that yesterday, so I think that must have been
that's in your head.
In my head. Let me take rodeo out.
Road
mic. Thank you, Lucy. Road mic. And what else have we bought? Oh, we bought some lights. We bought some softbox lights. I think we bought a new video a cam for our PC for
Webcam.
this. Webcams. Yeah, I can't even talk now. That's what we were saying earlier.
It's because we don't know much about
I know, it's the
stuff.
yeah, she said, Mum is the expert. And then we're worried.
I shouldn't have said that. That was too much pressure.
Yes, we just bought a webcam. So we're just gradually adding things to our collection. And but the camera particularly was huge, and it was we were so pleased with that.
Yeah,
that's interesting, because I've been wondering about buying a camera specifically for YouTube. So the problem with my DSLR is that it doesn't have a flippy screen. So if I have the camera pointed towards myself, I can't see myself. So there's a lot of clever positioning that goes on with mirrors, and also an app on my phone that I can use to connect to the camera. But it's really hard, because I think it would be really helpful to be able to like look at the lens and also just have a little reference next to it. So I have been
exactly. When we first started doing it, Lucy wouldn't let us flip the lens because she said, Mum, you keep looking at that.
Mum would look at herself.
Well, I couldn't see because I'd taken my glasses off. I wasn't actually looking at myself because it was all a blur. But she kept saying, no, you're not looking in the right place. I suppose it was the colours of the screen. So we weren't allowed to use that at first. But
it's easier with two of us because you can sit and I can frame it with you and leave space for me.
Yeah,
it's
and we're not on the go,
are
we? Yeah, and we're not like you. We're not traveling around normally. But having said that, Lucy's husband's got a GoPro thingy, and he said we can use that. So
we might be out and about more soon.
Ooh, that's interesting. Yes, get up close and personal into some stuff.
Yeah, we want to kind of expand our comfort zone a little, because we do a lot of sitting on sofas, don't we? So we might try and venture outside at some point, because Arizona.
Oh, that's exciting. That's awesome.
So we will have to wait on that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so it must be more difficult for you though, Ash, when you're filming, you know, doing your travel vlogs and things, because you're on the go and it's not so easy. You've got the elements, you've got the wind, the rain, we find it really hard to get good sound when we're outdoors.
Yeah. So I don't do a lot of talking to camera when I'm on location, which people have actually said like, oh, you should do a bit more like kind of like vlog style, like when you're there recording. I'm like, but it's so hard. It's always windy, and you're up against so many different elements. When I went up to Loch Ness, I made 2 videos when I was there, because I stayed in a tiny house and then I also looked for the Loch Ness monster, so it was a bit of a double barrel. And it rained, so I was there for 3 days, and it rained for the first 2 days non-stop.
Oh,
and
so you couldn't film very easily.
I went out every now and then and tried to catch it when it wasn't so heavy, because I thought I need to get footage. And then fortunately on the last day it was really sunny, so I just spent the whole time just running between all the different locations that I wanted to get to, filming as much as possible so that I had enough. But that trip was a very narrow window that we had where we could travel for a while. It was also, I think it was in October, so it was just before the weather would get really really heavy, and then also the nights were getting a bit earlier as well, so it's going to get dark soon. And I really I wanted to get it in this one burst, and I just kept looking out of the tiny house windows like, why is it raining?
Oh no,
it's not fair.
I tell you what I loved about that too was that footage you used with the waves and the underwater. How did you do that?
That was cool.
I use my phone to put underwater because it's waterproof. So I think if you have an iPhone after like the 7 or 8 or something like that, look it up, don't quote me on that. Please don't destroy your iPhone for the sake of this. Basically what I do is sort of like dip the camera under the water, and I also record in slow-mo, which is like really, really nice, because just going under the water and filming, it's a bit murky and like there's a lot going on. But when you slow it down, you just get this very ethereal like movement with bubbles, and and also
amazing.
When it's great when there's waves like coming up, and I'll just try and position it so that they sort of like splash up and then go away again, and it's really, really nice. So there's a hack for anybody out there with an iPhone. You get really good slow-mo underwater, already built into your camera.
Oh, interesting. Because I saw the adverts where people are like dropping their iPhone into like, I don't know, like the dishwater or something. Yeah. And you think, no, but it really does work.
Well, I did discover on my way home from Loch Lomond that although like it's waterproof, if you completely submerge the full phone, then it needs to dry out a little bit before you can charge it. And I didn't think ahead, and I was using my phone as a sat nav to get home. And I did just see the power going down, and I was like, every time I put the charger in, it was like, the device is, I think it said detects water in the charging point, please unplug. And I was like, no, I'm gonna die and I'm not gonna be able to get home. And eventually, I think after like an hour or so, it was dry enough that I could charge it, and then I was like heading home quite safely. But yeah, I did think in that moment, I definitely rely too heavily on this phone.
Totally though.
To make my YouTube videos, to get me home. Yeah, I was like, I shouldn't have done that.
Have an old-fashioned like map, like paper map, just in case.
I mean, I could also follow the road signs, but there was something that was like, I just so rely on a sat nav.
I think we do nowadays, don't we? Yeah. You know, how do we find our way around before sat navs? We're just getting lost, obviously.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh,
should I do a check-in?
Yeah, do a check-in.
You guys are being amazing today. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Tony says, wedding was fun. Glad to be home though. I'm exhausted. Weddings always are tiring, but glad you had fun. He says, oh, Lucy was featured in my last video and will be featured in the next 3 as the character Titania. Yes, if anyone hasn't seen it, head over to TT Burger 88 where I'm playing a badass robot made of titanium.
Oh, amazing.
I know, it's really cool.
It's fun. Really fun. Yeah, it's a great idea, Tony. It really was.
Yeah, I watched it, I was like, wow, I look awesome.
Yeah. That's cool.
And he also says, nice to see you, Ashley. Love your content. I was looking forward to the episode.
Oh, lovely.
Thank you, Tony.
Eleanor says, I have done more thumbnails with 2 pictures. It was a girl from my university, Brooke Didas, who had 66.k subscribers. Oh, giving the advice.
Right.
Oh, well, perhaps you have to go and check out her channel then. That's really cool. How nice of her to give advice. Yeah. Tony says, that Loch Ness monster ain't going to go away unless you give it tree fitty. I don't know what that is. What's that, Tony? Tree fitty?
I don't know.
Sorry, Tony. I'm not down with the whatever that is. You have to explain that further. And Flarix and you say, I'm always so proud of our thumbnails, but then the click-through rate is so sad. Ash, do you know what average click-through rate you have on your channel? Brit Girls too. Our click-through rate is average between 5 and 7%.
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head, but I can find out.
Yeah, us Mum has done so well with like researching what makes a good thumbnail. Our click-through rate used to average 3.9, but our most recent one, since we switched our main color from pink to blue, they're now averaging a lot higher. I mean, I don't know what the good click-through rate is for YouTube, but we're now sort of closer to 15% per video, and our sort of average over the whole channel is coming up. So kudos to Mum for that. I saw who did a video, it might have been Brad J's Success, some of you might know, did one about thumbnails that we watched a few times, where he said the best colors were like blue and green that make people want to click. So that's why we changed to blue anyway. And it seems to be working.
They seem to go with the flags, you know, because we're American British. So often, you know, I might put a flag on the thumbnail, and I felt that the color needed to be part of the flag color, because I like to pull in the colors and not have too many colors, you know. And so that deep blue worked well for our channel, I feel. I think it looked a bit classier than the light pink, you know, but love pink, I have to say. But so that's kind of, what are your thoughts, Ash?
Well, I heard through the grapevine that using, like, to kind of try and avoid using red, because everything on YouTube is red, so it doesn't make your video stand out. So I have kind of experimented a little bit. If you had a look through my thumbnails, there's quite a variety, and I'm still kind of like, yeah, trying to discover like what works best for me, but it does make you think. So I think I remembered watching a video that sort of looked at like what kind of photos to use and things like that, you know, because I'm always like, I'm never sure whether to sort of like cut myself out and have like the sort of photo of the subject in the background. I did that maybe about a month ago for a couple of videos just to see how that worked out. And then recently I've been doing like a staged photo. So for the video itself, rather than just a still of me talking, I'll actually like set up a photo just for the thumbnail. I did one recently that was about work-life balance, and I had like my laptop in one hand and then a globe in the other to sort of like be the scale. So difficult. And then also, so basically like I had to like sit, like hit the camera, and then I had 10 seconds to like get back onto the seat. Hold everything up.
And a bit of a blur.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
But I don't know if I can say yet which ones have been more successful. I think I prefer the ones that I stage and I set up rather than cutting out a still from the video, just because, I don't know, I guess maybe there's a little bit more control over like how the sort of like setup one would go. But my click-through rate is 5.8. So
yeah, I think that's probably, oh god, I think I have between 5 and 10% is about average for like a small YouTube channel, which I think, you know, we fall into the category of. So yeah, that I think that's fine, but I think we also prefer like staging. We used to take a clip from our videos too. It's very hard to get it right because, you know, one of us will look fine, but the other one will be like
and we've kind of learned how to take the background away, and all of the quality isn't very good. We really must invest in something which is better than what I use, which is free, but we take the background away. But we've found, you know, we read or we watched that, you know, putting people's faces more close up, we've done that, made it less wordy. That's another thing we read, you know, because I was putting more words in, like the whole title when we first started. So stuff like that, you know, but we do use expressions, like, because some of our subject matter is kind of like culture shock, you know, or whatever, you know, so it kind of sort of
lends itself
to that sort of. But you know, we didn't used to take photographs. Now sometimes when we forget, it's so annoying, you know, unless I've got one in stock that we're using that particular expression for.
Yeah, I'm the same. If I forget to take the photo, I'm like, oh no. So yeah, there's some where the photograph doesn't look anything like the footage that you're going to see in the video.
You've got a totally different outfit on, your hair's different.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Oh God,
it's a different day entirely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, oh no, I have to put makeup on today.
I know.
Yeah, we've been there too. And then our thumbnails start to look kind of similar because it's the same outfit as before. Similar shocked expression.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's always difficult, but you know, that Canva's really fun and it's easy to use. I guess to use that Canva to do your thumbnail.
I've used it before, I've done a bit of a mixture, and I got into Illustrator recently. And because there was a few things in my videos, I'm not in any way, shape or form an animator, but I kind of wanted to bring in just like some like visual elements that would help. And I did use a stock imagery and stock footage websites for a while, and they're great, but I think I was beginning to kind of be like, oh, I think I've used that before, like I can't just keep using this again and again. So I started to do little illustrations and just like little simple pictures to sort of like help the point. And like the video where I go to Arran, I drew a couple of giants.
Oh, I love that. I was going to mention that.
I about the screen. It wasn't very complicated. They didn't really have any sort of like, you know, they couldn't like move or anything themselves. But I was just kind of like, you know what, I'll get the point across. And I want to, it's another thing that I think if I do it more and more, then hopefully I'll get a little bit better. And so through doing that, I also started to do the thumbnails that way as well, and just try to get a bit more creative with them too.
Love that. The giants were so cool.
Oh, it was amazing. I loved that. That was my favorite bit. Yeah, it was really cool. So we've talked about your traveling and we've in detail and the legends and the storytelling. So, you know, you also did mention it about living a simpler life. So how do we go about living a simpler life?
So there's a few things that I cover in my videos that sort of look into different ways in which you can do it. So more, you know, all the different ways that you look into it. I think one thing that's quite universal is about just really enjoying the thing that you're doing and give it your full attention is one of the most fundamental ways that you can get a lot more of enjoyment out of life. And even if it's something that might not seem like it would be that exciting, if you get into the flow of it and if you just feel like you're really focusing your attention, you come away with like just more positive feelings about the action that you did. So yeah, like there's a lot of different topics that I cover. So like minimalism and Hygge and simple living and intentional living and slow living. And they all like pretty much have this fundamental core of just like be intentional. When you're doing something, try not to be distracted by something else, really give it your attention. If it's if it's eating dinner, like really think about like enjoying the food. Yeah. If it's watching TV, really take it in. I used to be really bad for watching TV and also scrolling through my phone at the same time.
Oh yes, yeah.
It was weird because like I annoyed myself by doing it because I would want to see this TV show, put it on, sit and scroll through my phone, and then when it would finish, I'd be like, oh, I actually didn't see most of that. Like,
then you have to rewind it. Yeah, I do that sometimes. I think, oh God, I've got so much to do, but I can watch that program and do something on the channel at the same time. And you get engrossed in what you're doing on the computer or on your phone, and then and you're not really, and you're not relaxed. Yeah. So do you think it's what you were just saying is good to get rid of stress, to actually live in the moment? Is it because we're always trying to multitask and think ahead at what we should be doing next? And so does that help you alleviate stress in your life?
Yeah, I think so. So I am the type of person who thinks ahead a lot. And they say that the more you do that, the more you kind of invite anxiety into your life in terms of you're just constantly thinking too far ahead and not really focusing on now. And I saw a really good, it was a meme the other day from the end of the US Office where one of the characters was like, I wish you could feel like you were in the good old days when you're in them and not just like when you're looking back like, oh, that was good. And I think that struck a chord in the sense of like, you know, you never stop to appreciate when you enjoy something. You always remember like when you look back, but you never feel like this is good now. So I think a lot of like that sort of like living in the moment and trying to be like more focused should give you that feeling of like, I actually really enjoy what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's so true. And when you look back, it always seems better than when you were there. But if you could think these are the golden days now, enjoy. That's such good advice, really. Can I just pause just briefly, just to let you know there isn't a Share the Love next week because it's American Mother's Day. So we thought lots of people would be celebrating the day. And so we're going to have a break next Sunday. We're going to put out some extra videos, maybe some shorts, but we're going to have the day off so we can celebrate American Mother's Day. Yes, like it should be celebrated.
We'll celebrate. Don't worry, we're going to celebrate.
So, and also could I say, if you're in the chat, thank you so much for coming along. Please give us a like, and if you haven't done so already, Lucy's already said this, please check out Ashley's channel, Ash on Film, link in the description.
Okay. I have one more thing. We also don't have a guest for the 16th. And if you haven't come on yet and you'd like to, and you have a YouTube channel, we're always looking for new people to talk to. So you can see our emails somewhere at the bottom there if you'd like to do a Share the Love Sunday. Or if you can't do the 16th, but you'd like to do one at some point, then just let us know and we'll sort something out.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, please. Okay. So you mentioned, and I looked up how to pronounce this word, Hygge, Hygge?
Hygge.
Nicely done.
Yeah, thank you. I did practice quite a bit on that, and I kind of wondered if I'd remembered it correctly. Can you explain what that is? That's intriguing.
So I learned about it because there's a pretty well-known book called The Little Book of Hygge. And much like you looked at that and thought, how do you even say this? For the longest time, I thought it was Hygge, and then realized I mean, saying it wrong. So
I read you were talking about hygiene, because when I read about your bag, I thought, oh, she meant to type hygiene. But I thought, I don't remember seeing any videos about hygiene on your channel. I missed that.
It looks really similar written down.
Yeah.
And so that was, I can't remember how I found it, but basically on reading this book, I kind of figured that there was a lot of things in it that just made, it was almost an unspoken rule about just coziness, happiness, just that feeling of like warmth and safety as well, I think is quite key to it. And so it originates from, it's basically like a Danish tradition, and the Danish also live in a country with very long winters and very dark evenings, you know, pretty much from October round to March. Your day is like taken up by your job, and all of the time outside of that you're living in darkness, and it does have like a really adverse effect on people's moods and behaviors, you know, in Scotland, and I guess also in Denmark and other sort of like northern countries like that. There's a seasonal affective disorder, which is also abbreviated to SAD, quite convenient.
Yeah.
But it is a real thing where people just feel sad in general because they don't get a lot of sunlight and they're just not able to enjoy their life as much. You get really bogged down by the weather and feeling cold, and there's this feeling that you just don't want to leave home because it's just not worth it. And so the concept of Hygge is around creating like coziness and happiness, like at home, essentially. But it's got some really interesting concepts as well that actually do inspire people to maybe venture out a little bit and engage in more like community activities, even in the dark, cold months. So it's said that in Denmark, they have one of the sort of highest rates of well-being and positivity and happiness, despite like all of those elements that would basically allude you to think like, oh, it's a northern country, they must experience that dip in mood over the winter. So Hygge kind of goes into how to create an environment that you're happy to be in, how to sort of feel safe and warm and cozy and look forward to the winter months because you get to do that too. And there's a real big emphasis on community, because one of the things that will lift your mood so much is just connecting with other people. And that could just be like a phone call with your mum, or it could be, you know, going to a festival or an event, or a winter fair or something like that, and just feeling like you're with other people and you're part of something much bigger, and experiencing that joy as a collective is a really big thing as well. And one of the things that I thought was really nice about it was I read the book during like lockdown, and so obviously people have been feeling really distant, and it's been a real challenge for everybody to feel that sort of like closeness and connection. So it was really nice to sort of explore that in a way that was kind of like, how do you do this in a time like this? And just like make sure that you're still keeping your spirits high, in a nutshell.
Oh, interesting. But I wish I'd known about that when I lived in the UK, because it's so real. Like
it's hard.
It's really hard those winters when it gets dark around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I wish that would have been something. I feel like that would have been really helpful for me.
There's, you know, it's nice when you go inside and it is all cozy. You've got a nice fire going and your candles,
warm drink.
And you feel like cozy down. That is a nice feeling for sure.
Absolutely.
So what's your experience been like with other YouTubers? You know, have you found it helpful to belong to Facebook groups and things like that? Have you got lots of support? And we did touch on it earlier, but how important is that to you?
I have found it really useful. It's strange because I had sort of dabbled in YouTube before I officially went for a channel. So just the odd little video or something, or, you know, I thought, oh, this would be good to put out somewhere that everyone can see it. Let's put it on YouTube. And I can't remember how I found the Facebook groups, but I just kind of, I think I must have just searched for like, you know, communities that were going to be looking to like discover new content and like also share their own. And it's more than just, you know, getting other people to watch your stuff, but it's also about learning from them. So like I said about the intro thing, where people were talking about like, is an intro necessary, or is it something that people don't really appreciate and just skip by? And yeah, it's been really interesting learning from other people, like how that works, and then also like sharing with other people as well. So I'm part of a few different groups, and quite often people will post like questions, or people will maybe share something that's happened to them so that you can sort of learn from that too. It's interesting, even when somebody is like, I started my channel yesterday and I'm already monetized. You're like, oh, but it's still interesting to like, yeah, I know, it's like, what? Just to like learn from them. I mean, maybe that's an extreme example, but you can then go, what did you do? How did you get there? And there's also so many like changes in YouTube, so it's really good to like keep up with. When shorts were launched, I sort of didn't really know if I was going to do something like that or not. Back at Christmas time, I made a couple of shorts, put them up, and then thought, no, this is not for me. But then about 3 months later, thought, actually, I think I just did the wrong thing. I was basically trying to make a short version of my normal video that I put out. Because shorts have got to be a different kind of style. So that's when I started doing more ad hoc. I film them on my phone. They're very just like, here's me telling you something for a minute, rather than the cut and polished like video that goes out on a Thursday. So, and then also just learning things about how like that contributes to your like subscribers and your watch time and things like that as well. So how do you use that as a tool as part of what you're of what you want to do with your YouTube channel as well? So I found it really, really good, and it's been really lovely to like be on the journey with other people. I found so many people who really love the channel, really connect with the content, people who I love watching as well. I'm always thrilled when a Brit Girls video goes up, because I'm like, this is going to be good. And you guys cover so much as well. So sometimes I worry, I'm like, I bang on about minimalism every week, and people eventually will go, oh God, minimalism again. But no, like, yeah, you guys bring a lot of variety, and so it's been really, really good. Like meeting people that way and discovering new things for me to enjoy and watch.
Well, thank you for your kind words. Thank you.
Like, I think doing the same thing every week, you know, I think that's exactly what you should be doing for the growth of your channel. You know, we don't do it because we like the variety, but you know, like they say, you should find your niche, and then you'll find your people, you know, a lot quicker. So I think that's a good thing as well.
Yeah, because at least they know what to expect when coming to your channel, whereas kind of when they come to us,
it's like surprise.
Whoa, this is different. Well, we try and keep within a theme, don't we?
Culture. Our theme is culture.
In case you didn't know.
And I guess perspective, and I think that's something that when it comes to like picking what I'm gonna make videos about, sometimes I think in the past it took me a while to get to like the right theme, because I was always like, oh, someone else has done that, so I can't just do it again. But the difference is that it's from your point of view. And although, like, you know, every week I am talking about minimalism, I'm always doing that because it's like a different topic, but here's my take on it. And I think that's what you guys do as well. Like, you've got a unique perspective living in the US, taking on culture like that. So it's not something that people like see all the time. It's like very, very unique.
That's so important. I think like people get bogged down with the idea like, I've got to find something unique that's never been done before, and the truth is, like, probably everything's been done before. You just have to do it in your way, in your style, and like you say, from your perspective. And that's what makes it unique, not necessarily the content itself or the subject matter itself. It's the way you do it that makes your channel different from everyone else's. I think that's a really good point.
So when you're looking for topics, I mean, how far do you plan ahead, and what are your goals for your channel too? That's 2 questions.
So I have a list where I write down topics that I think are going to be interesting, and I don't necessarily keep them like in order. I just sort of like keep a list of what I think is interesting, and then week to week when I go to make my videos, I'll have a look at what I think is the right one to do now. When I started, planned really far ahead, and I would film like 2 or 3 videos in one day and then edit them over a few weeks and put them out. But what I found about that was that it wasn't very responsive, like, to what's happening in the world right now. And yeah, I kind of wanted to be a little bit more dynamic and be able to like talk about like subjects or add things into the video that were relevant. So yeah, I know like my content doesn't really address like current affairs or anything, but it's kind of, it just made me feel a bit more like, okay, well, if I put something out and it was really successful, I should follow that up with something that makes sense, you know, that sort of keeps interest high, rather than going, oh, well, I've made a video now about a completely different topic that doesn't relate to that, and then put that out next and like just see a drop off. So I tried to be dynamic in that sense, and just like keep that list of things that I find interesting and make the videos like week on week. I tend to take a look at like what is popular at the moment, like what are people looking for, and is it something that I can bring a spin to, just by doing like searches on YouTube, seeing what's trending, seeing what's popular. Other channels similar to mine, what are they up to, and like how can I relate to what they're making, or how can I put my own spin on it. And my goals for the channel are, I want to like grow it essentially. I love making the videos, and I like, what's nice for me is that not only do I like make them to like put out online for other people, but there's also an element of it that's for me, that's for like learning about my own life. I do 1 video a month that's about personal growth. So as part of that, I explored my hometown, and I explored like the Scots language as well and things like that, and just like really delve into a subject that I'm interested in, but I've just never really given full attention. And so there's an element of it that's a lot about like my own growth, and then like I would like for the channel to take off and just reach a lot of people, and help a lot of people live a simpler life.
I think you've got all the elements there to be successful. Like, your videos look great, they sound great, they're useful, interesting subjects, you articulate it so well, like everything's there. I think it's bound to grow. I don't see how it can't.
No, absolutely. And sometimes it doesn't grow as quickly as you want it to, and it goes in stops and starts, doesn't it?
I've definitely found that the stops and starts for me are the like, whoa, what's going on? Like, I had a really successful video at the start of the year that just kept growing and then pretty much ground to a halt. And I was like, no, keep going. And then another video will find its way. And so it's just a bit like keeping momentum.
I think that's the thing. Like, it's very easy to get disheartened in those moments when it doesn't seem to be growing. Like, I know at the beginning of the year, like, we had a kind of slower period and we got a bit disheartened. But like, those periods are bound to happen, I think. And you just got to get through them, and then it'll start to pick up a bit.
Definitely. I guess the other thing is that I always think about, if I'm really proud of the video, then it's not a huge like deal to me how many views it gets. It's, if someone said to me like, show me a video that just sums you up, then I would want any video on my channel to be the one that I could go like, here's who I am, here's what I believe in. And here's like, just like, I'm really proud of this. I think because there's a few things that I sort of like apply for as a filmmaker, and they always ask you to send examples of your work, and sometimes I think like, actually I could have a YouTube video that's good enough to do that. Why not send that and see if that's the kind of thing that they like? And so for me, there's this other element of just like you're doing it for you, and if you're proud of it, it doesn't matter how many people see it. It's success in your own eyes.
Yeah, in a way, it is better, because if you put something out that's not as good as what you normally put out, and it's hugely successful, it's great, but then you think, oh, I wish more people had seen the ones that were better. You know, so many people have seen that video, and it really, we could have done that a lot better. So yeah, I mean,
you have to try and be proud of every single video. Like, we used to take some suggestions for challenges and stuff like that, and that was super fun, don't get me wrong, but like, I'm not sure all of them summed up who we are as people.
I hope not.
It was great, don't get me wrong, we loved that people made suggestions, and we did a lot of them, and it was really really fun to put ourselves out of our comfort zone. Looking back on them, we're like, oh god,
did we really do that? But yeah, it was right at the time, you know. And you said earlier about evolving through your channel. You try things, and then you sort of go in a certain direction. You think, oh gosh, I love this part of it. This is really me. This is working. But you you can't just start and expect it all to work straight off and be just right. You know? Yeah, so don't forget, everyone in the chat, if you've got questions you'd like to ask, please go ahead and ask them.
Shall I do a check-in now? Because I've got a little, I'm sorry everyone in the chat, you've been talking and I've got behind, that's my fault. Let's see. John and Cara say, oh, they've got a recommendation. We have the Canon M50 mirrorless. It has the flip screen, very light and easy to vlog with. We would recommend.
Oh, that's
brilliant.
Yes.
Good recommendation. Thank you.
Eleanor says, I have found my click-through rate is getting higher with having thumbnails with 2 pictures. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose we naturally have 2 because we have one of you and one of me usually.
Yes, yes.
I don't know if that's helpful or not.
I sometimes think we should just have one of Lucy.
No.
We have occasionally.
Oh, Paul's here. Paul Perry, Champions of Christ. Says, hey, legends.
Hey, Paul, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for coming. Don't worry about being late. That's quite all right.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Eleanor says, I absolutely loved making those review videos. Oh, of the food. I am a foodie. I think I will be making my channel more focused on food and gardening.
Oh,
that would be lovely, Eleanor. We love all of that.
Definitely.
Yes. John Ankara says, I have written down your channel. Oh, sorry, they're just having a chat between themselves about checking each other's channels out. I'll leave that.
Awesome.
That's really cool. And yeah, don't forget, like, check out each other's channels. Everyone in this chat we would recommend. You're all fantastic.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
Yes. Let's see. And Seb Kitchen also are working harder on their thumbnails. Eleanor says, where do you find the average click-through rate? It's in the Creator Studio. Oh gosh. See, it's in the. Has anyone said it in the chat? Can you see before I spend ages looking?
If you go to your channel analytics, and then I think, for me, if you click reach, it comes up as one of the metrics there. What's interesting about this as well, I actually never check this, which is really bad. But a lot of my traffic comes from YouTube search or browse. About 50% of it is from searching and browsing, which is quite interesting to know.
Yes, it is interesting to know.
And I think that's good. I heard that it's good if most of your traffic comes from YouTube searches. We put ours out a lot in like different Facebook groups. So we get a lot from Facebook, which is fine. But I think it's, you know, YouTube likes to see that people are searching on their platform for your content as well. So I guess that comes from like SEO and, you know,
your thumbnails,
your
and everything,
and your titles and your topics and all of that stuff.
Oh, Molly's got an interesting point. Hi, Molly.
Hi, Molly.
Molly Cakes is now Molly Makes.
Oh, yes, of course. Hi, Molly Makes. Hello, Molly. Thank you for coming. Where's Molly's question? I can't see it.
Right at the bottom. My name changes because I want to do more than just cakes. I want to make other things. So that's interesting. That's very brave, changing your name of your channel.
Yeah, we've thought about just becoming the Brit Girls because a lot of people can't remember the Go Stateside bit. I don't know. I kind of like just being the Brit Girls. Mum thinks we should keep the Go Stateside, if anyone has an opinion on that.
Yeah, I just think it sums it up that we're British, we're in America in our title, but the Brit Girls is more catchy. So
people just call us the Brit Girls anyway.
Yeah.
Maple Cook. Hello, Maple Cook. Says hello, welcome.
Oh, hi.
So I'm just catching up with everyone now. And Eleanor says, yeah, that's understandable. I used to have mine be my name, and then I changed it to show I made my channel to share my voice. I think the most important thing is that your channel name sums up you, I suppose. And maybe for some people that is just their name. Did you ever think about what made you choose Ash on Film for your channel?
So I had registered a few like social media accounts as Ash on Film. So like my Instagram is Ash on Film, because most of what I was putting out was me working on film stuff, you know.
Yes.
And you know, whether it was making short films or whether it was something I was doing at work or editing or something like that. So that always made sense. And when it came to the YouTube channel, although I didn't know really the like kind of solid foundation of what I was going to be working with, I felt that like Ash on Film still said like, expect to see me on this video. So I kind of kept it. And sometimes I do wonder, like, should it be more specific? Other people who make videos around like simple living, minimalism, things like that, use their full name as the channel name. But actually I was kind of happy with Ash on Film, and I think that because it was part of like all the other social media I had, that it just made more sense to do that.
I agree. And I think it sounds very professional, because as I said, I didn't know for sure that you were a filmmaker, and when I asked that question earlier, but it sort of says I am a filmmaker, and it gives that sort of professional leaning towards what you do, which is very professional. So I like it. And but it is a difficult decision, isn't it, when you're thinking of a name for your channel. Sometimes it's obvious and you just hit on it, and other times, you know, you kind of do wonder. And if your channel does evolve into something sort of different, then is your name right still for your channel? So that is an interesting question.
That's a really interesting point. I will shall I ask Ash the final question now? So I'll ask Ash the final question that we ask to all our guests before we say goodbye. But if you have a question for Ash, then pop it in the chat now and we'll come to you after this. Ash, if you could take everything that you've learned on your YouTube journey so far and kind of boil it down into one piece of advice for someone who's maybe thinking of starting a YouTube channel, or someone who's just started a YouTube channel, what advice would you give them to kind of send them on their way?
I would say just start. So if you don't feel ready and you don't know what you're going to make videos about yet, and you're not sure what to call your channel, it's fine. Start anyway, because what will happen is that you'll discover it along the way. It's so much better to be doing it. Put your stuff out there, get feedback, see how it feels to make a video and put it out into the world. And all of that information will inform you on where to go in your path next. So yeah, my advice is just start.
Love it.
Right, nice. Short and to the point. Good thinking.
Yeah. Don't do what we did. We took 7 months of planning, and then once we launched, we decided we weren't going to do what we'd been working on.
Oh, really?
Wow. We were going to do sketches.
No.
Yeah,
really interesting. For me, I knew I wanted to do a YouTube channel for so long, and I just did not know what the hook was going to be. And I set myself this soft deadline of the beginning of September last year to start the channel. And it was about 2 weeks before it was supposed to go live, and I had no videos. And I was like, oh, I can't do it then. And then I was like, no, you know what, just do it. Because if you can't do it now, you never will. And you will just sit on it for so long. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. There's always a million reasons why you can put something off, isn't there? But you just have to go for it.
Be brave and do it. Yeah, you won't regret it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Dad says, this has been very interesting. Oh, thanks, Dad. It's a good compliment from Dad. Seth Kitchen wants to know, is it better to stay in one niche or do different niches? Do you have any thoughts on that, Ash?
I that's a tough question. I think as long as there's always something that makes it feel like your video, it's okay to sort of dip into different things. I've dipped into different things at various points. Sometimes I'm just telling a story. Sometimes I'm traveling. Sometimes I'm exploring like a subject. I did a little bit of philosophy for a while as well. But the unifying thing is that it's always like the same style of presentation, the same style of editing, and the same humor and things like that. So I think you can dip into different niches as long as you've always got that like package that says that like this is from me.
I love that. Yeah, like the feel of your videos. Like, that's so true. Yeah. And I think if you like examine like, okay, what's my personality? Like if you're unsure how to make it feel like your video, just kind of examine yourself and be like, okay, what's my personality? What kind of energy do I put onto the screen? Then you can start to go from there, I think. Yeah,
definitely.
Cool. Let's see. Oh, Molly says, I seriously love your accent. Can I borrow it forever? That's so sweet.
I get that a lot. Every video, there's at least one comment that's like, your accent's brilliant. And I'm like, oh, thanks.
I could listen to you all day, Ash. I really could. It's a lovely accent.
Thanks, guys.
Eleanor says, I'm trying to focus less on the numbers as I've been stuck in 300s for a while. I used to do more challenges. I ended up taking many down because I don't want my ex on my channel anymore. Quite, yes.
Yes, definitely declutter that.
Absolutely.
That must have been quite a freeing feeling. Just delete. And Molly says, I just like Brit Girls.
Oh, Molly's so sweet.
I guess I did not know what Go Stateside meant. And I thought you still lived in England. I think I've realized that stateside is something that we tend to only say in the UK.
Yeah, maybe you don't say stateside in America. That's true. Well, I will still like you, Molly, even though you prefer Lucy's suggestion. I still like you a lot. Well, let us know, everyone, what you think. It'll be interesting in case we make the change.
And I think that's it. Thank you so much to Ash. You've been such a wonderful guest. Thank you for having me.
This has been great.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for taking the time to come on.
You're such a natural in front. A natural in front of the camera as well as behind the camera, Ash. Really, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the channel.
Thank you. This has been my first live, so I'm really glad that it was such a good one. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. Do you think you'll be doing some on your channel anytime soon?
Maybe. Actually, it's been really fun, so why not?
Maybe you should.
Oh, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed for those. And thank you, everyone. You've been great in the chat. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye everybody.
Bye, Ash.
Bye. Bye.